Hi, I'm Nancy Clark.
And I'm Emery Wallace-Phillips.
We're the Hospice and Bereavement Coordinators with Theo in Oxford, and this is Mourning Chats with Anne Marie and Nancy. Cheers.
We're going to continue on misconceptions of children grieving with the fourth one. Knowing someone is going to die provides an advantage as compared to a sudden death. So in theory, it is easy to assume that the forewarning of an anticipated death provides a family with the chance to prepare mentally, emotionally, and practically for what is come. But in reality, the stress of the illness and the dying process can leave a family without the time, resources, and support to do these things. Children are especially at risk for negative outcomes due to lack of resources, their developmentally unique understanding of death, and the tendency of parents to leave children uninformed and uninvolved. Anticipatory grief does not mitigate or minimize one's grief reactions after the death occurs. It requires supportive interventions.
Yeah. And just like with adults, you don't, just because you know a death is coming, doesn't make it any easier to absorb into your life or to deal with.
Yeah.
So the fifth misconception we're going to chat about today is the idea that kids shouldn't be at the bedside of the dying.
Yeah.
So this is a really interesting one because historically, children have always been at the bedside of the dying and have been involved in that death process. And in many parts of the world, this is still the case. Yeah. Yet in our Western culture, children are often not involved in the final stages of a family member's life. By excluding children at the bedside, there's actually some unintended negative effects that it has on them. They're definitely deprived that opportunity to share in their loved one's final days and to say their goodbyes in their own way and at their own pace. We encounter that children will often imagine scenes about death that are actually in fact much worse and much scarier than the true reality of seeing the dying friend, family member, or loved one.
Yeah.
So by preparing them for what to expect, we're able to give children that chance to witness the dying process firsthand and in the presence of supportive adults. And let's not forget that dying is just as natural as birth.
Yeah.
And we need to integrate our kids into that.
Absolutely.
So this experience can go a long way toward helping them understand what is happening and will support them for their grieving process for years to come.
Our sixth myth is kids must get over their grief. Children, like adults, don't get over grief. They learn to live with it and work to reconcile the challenges it brings to their lives. The ideal or even the thought suggestion that children have to get over it can be very destructive. It also sends the message that something is wrong with them, and it doesn't model appropriate grieving.
And the seventh misconception we're going to chat about today is the concept that children's grief is short in duration. So again, this is one of those examples where children aren't that different from adults. For both, grief and mourning is a process. It's not an event to overcome. Adults want children to hurry up and be strong. They want to fix their child's grief rather than allow them to feel this deep sadness and deep pain. And in fact, while they're trying to help their child, they don't want to see their child in pain. That mindset actually just delays the child's natural grieving process. Adults can sometimes be trying to protect themselves as well, trying to avoid their child's pain, which in fact triggers their own, and encountering that pain.
So children's grief reactions may be short in duration. There's a very popular term, it's called puddle jumping. So imagine a puddle filled with mud and your child jumps in it. In that mud, there's all sorts of feelings of anger, sadness, joy, frustration. they're immersed in that mud. And then when they jump out of the puddle, they're not immersed in it anymore. So that is something very important to remember about a grieving child, about their duration and how they process their grief.
And that's actually something we're going to talk about in the coming weeks in more detail. So for more information, contact us by phone or email or visit viewonoxford.ca. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel to view all of our Mourning Chat videos and specifically our Children in Grief series. Thank you.
Thank you.